Plaintiff Matthew Messer says the defendant grew up on the streets of Detroit and used to be a crack addict who got a lot of his tattoos in crack houses. Matthew claims he's been a tattoo artist since the age of 16, and the defendant wanted him to cover up some of his crack house tattoos, but he refuses to pay Matthew for his services. Defendant Ian Hamlet admits that he was a drug addict who got a lot of sloppy tattoos while on drugs. And once he sobered up, he was embarrassed because he felt like they were scars of his dysfunctional past. Ian insists he worked off some of his debt and doesn't believe he owes the full amount he's being sued for.
All right, tell me what happened.
I started tattooing when I was about 16 years old. Most of the time it's just been a hobby, on and off, doing tattoo parties and whatnot. Groups of people would call me over, tattoo a large amount of people at one time. I met Ian about 2005 through my brother. He grew up kind of the same life I did, grew up the city of Detroit. I grew up in Pontiac, running the streets, acting fool. He used to be a crackhead, did a lot of his tattoos from beforehand were done in crack houses. He actually got caught soliciting a prostitute.
You a crackhead?
Me? No, Your Honor.
You said you all did the same thing.
Same types of things.
Yeah, same types of things. The same type of crack.
No, Your Honor. I did drugs, but no crack.
Go ahead.
For about a year, we'd converse back and forth about fixing up some of his stuff, the tattoos he had. He was real leery about letting anybody tattoo over what he already had because it could get to the point where he's pretty much done. There's nothing else you could do. After about a year, like I said, he finally said, all right, let's do something. We started working on his left arm, did a pentagram on his left arm. I don't know, he's pagan, whatever the reason may be, but we did the pentagram. I ended up getting injured. Took about a month off, 2 months off. Went back to working on him, do a couple pieces here and there on his neck. I actually brought some of my photos from some of the stuff I've done.
You're showing me this to indicate that you do good work?
Yes, and the back, Your Honor, there's some in the back that are actually things that I've done on him.
Are you in there?
No, sir.
Since most of his stuff was cover-up work and it was going to be quite extensive, I set up a hourly payment arrangement with him where it's $150 an hour.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Let me allow him to give some background, then he can tell me what he believed the agreement was. Go ahead. You want to give me some background first?
Well, just to go canter on what he said about me being a crackhead or whatever. I grew up in Detroit. I grew up at 5 and Lasher in the Brightmoor area. I was a pretty impressionable kid, you know what I mean? I was around a bunch of kind of, bad people or whatever, and I got into some bad things. I made some bad choices. I did some drugs, and in the course of doing those drugs, I ended up getting some tattoos. And I was working in Detroit as a tattoo artist, tattooing other crackheads. And I'd get some money, I'd get some dope, and so I was just tattoos and drugs kind of went hand in hand with me, you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
I got sobered up, I cleaned up, you know what I mean, got my life together, and I moved out of Detroit, and I moved up to the Flint area where we both reside. And I met Mr. Messer, I'd say it was 2004, 2005, and he actually offered me to do the cover-up work on me, because I didn't want to show him my tattoos because I felt embarrassed. I mean, I felt like I was wearing scars of my former life, you know what I mean? Like I didn't want people, I wouldn't even show people, you know what I mean? So when he approached me about doing cover-ups, and I was excited because no one was just coming up to me saying, hey, let's cover up your old crap, you know what I mean? Let's get this taken care of. And so we did, we started.
What was the agreement?
Well, originally the agreement was that I find him a couple clients and he would start doing some work on me. So
that's not right.
Well,
did you find the client?
Yes, sir, I did. I found two clients.
You say original agreement. What was the last agreement?
The last agreement we had?
Yes, the final agreement.
Your Honor, it's been so messed up over the course of 3 years. I'm not even sure what the final agreement is.
Well, that's a problem.
It is a problem. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because if he can remember the last agreement and you can't, I'm sure he can remember what he remembered.
I'm sure he can remember.
Okay. You do understand. I know this. Go with his agreement.
I know this, that we started to do a checklist, okay, and that he was just going to keep track of what tattoos he did and this and that, and I would initial that checklist after it was done. So he knew what he did for his records, which all worked out fine and dandy. After 2 or 3 years of me working for him, bringing him clients, doing all this, I hear around the grapevine that I owe him money for tattoos. I was under the impression for a long time that I was getting free tattoos. And
No, you just said that you all had a chart.
so he would know what pieces he did and who he did them on. There was nothing to do with money. There was no money involved or anything.
Well, you said that there was an agreement that he would receive money from the clients you recommended.
From the clients I recommended, right? Not from me.
There was money involved. That is money.
Right, but not from me.
Well, it's the same thing. He's doing it for the people you recommended in exchange for the money you owed him.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess you could say that,
money is involved.
But here's the thing, though, okay? Is when I'm bringing him 4 and 5 clients at a time, and he's doing, he's making, $300, $400, $500 in a setting, okay? And then I turn around and I got to wait 4 months to get my tattoo finished or whatever. I brought photographs of all my tattoos, and which
let me see.
some aren't completed either.
Then we're going to get to this chart. What do you say?
Your Honor, this was started right at the beginning. This is the ledger I keep for a lot of my friends.
Now, I want to see the ledger you kept with him.
Okay, I just brought his, but I keep these for a lot of people, and they keep a tally going. And that's been like that since the day we started.
This is his?
Yep, that's his personal. That's what I keep in my file for him.
Your Honor, I've never seen that document anyways. I don't have a copy of that document.
You don't know what he's giving me.
That's the ledger. That's what supposedly makes me owe him all this money.
And is that what this is?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said it exists.
Yeah.
And you don't know whether he's given me the ledger that you believe to be the correct one or not.
I don't
You
know. I've
haven't
never
even seen it.
How am I supposed to know what it is?
But you denied it. How are you supposed to deny something you haven't seen?
Sir, I did not.
Do you have your ledger, sir?
No, I do not.
I know you don't. $4,150 for the plaintiff. You don't even remember what the agreement was. He knows the agreement perfectly. His memory's working well. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
He's got all kinds of tattoos. He's got tattoos all over his back, all over his stomach. He's got 2 big wolves on his... he looks all clean and prim in this suit, but believe me, he's a tough guy underneath all there. He's got quite a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, I'm pretty much tattooed up. I don't have anything on my arms. All mine are concealable with the T-shirt.
Right. How convenient.
So I did the pirate on his arm, the pirate on his other hand, the pentagram, this word.
They weren't even finished. None of these are even finished.
Because he went to Florida and decided he wanted to be a pirate.
Yeah, yarg, mate.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. I'm a pirate. I'm proud of it.